Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Inforunners. And today we're going to be talking about original ship designs. And today I am joined by Execute and Seer.
Okay. You guys weren't here for the other awful takes, but that totally changed. All right, anyway, keep going. Yeah, so we saw on ATV, or Inside Station, today that we got some new customization options, and I think we can all kind of safely say as we were surprised by what you're going to be able to customize. I know myself, there was a few things in there that I did not expect. What about you, Sia?
I like everything I saw for the most part.
And
like, what surprised you specifically?
Are you talking about for the 300 eyes? I mean, nothing really. It's what I expected for customization. You could change the trim, you could change the bed location on the racing module, and you could change the steering wheel, the seats. It's honestly what I expected.
It's actually more than what I was actually expecting, because
Likewise.
when we're looking at customization, yeah, the seat, sure, changing the exterior, sure, but changing a lot of the interior colors and everything, that seems like a really big deal, just to change some colors and everything on the inside of a ship. It sounds very simple when you say that, but editing it just sounds like a nightmare. And the fact that they got this working it seems fairly easily on the Origin ships gives me hope that we might see a lot more customization than just exterior skin here or a base interior. Here's some, like, basic part changes like for your seats and stuff like that, but actually trim and stuff. Imagine scaling that up to something like a Hammerhead and having maybe some different interior colors in there. That is big.
At least those empty hallways will be your empty hallways. No, like, seriously, before this, though, like, literally customization was skins for the outside of the ships. Until today, we had nothing other than that to go on. So that's why, to go to this length here, why me and Dasein are quite surprised. You work at Boeing, so you're probably used to ship customization or plane customization out the frickin' wazoo.
Yeah.
So you're like, whatever. This is crap.
Oh,
Didn't even have smoke
Okay.
detectors. Blah 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 blah. But
They have fire extinguishers.
yeah. Previously, all we had was skins. So to see it go to this level of detail, I wasn't expecting things like being able to change a steering wheel or change your seats even. So the only ship up until now that we knew about having different seats on was the Aurora. So that's a big change as well. And does that mean that down the line, as you're saying, to other bigger ships, and does it mean that if you own an Origin ship you can change it to another Origin seat? Does it mean that you can change it to another Aegis seat if you're in an Aegis ship? Or does it mean you can pick any ship from any manufacturer to go in that seat? It actually raised a lot of questions for me along the board, like and not just changing the color of trim, but can you actually change the material type? For example, can you put wood into your ship if you want to do so? Can you put a carbon fiber or a plastic or whatever you want to put in? So
I mean, the only thing that I don't see them doing out of everything you said is to be able to put different manufacturer seats in there. That's the only thing I don't see them doing, but I could be wrong. So
maybe when you buy them, but like, can you aftermarket put one in? Like, so if after you've brought a ship down the line, because that's another part of the customization, is how much can you customize it now when you buy it, so to speak, and how much can you customize it once you're in game? Like, that there are other things as well. Yeah. And can we also pick the weapons we put on the ship to save as our LTI? Can we then buy it back?
I'm pretty sure they're going to go towards that. From what I understood, that you're going to be able to pick some of your components. But then again, that just may have been what I thought I heard, because sad thing is CIG's communication is bits and pieces here and there. It gets a little bit muddy.
Yeah.
Another obvious one for me is if, say, you pick components that like really expensive, like military components,
Class A military,
as opposed to commercially available, is that going to make the ship take longer to come back? And I would assume it would make it longer to come back because it's got more resources that are required. So therefore, when it comes back, it takes longer to come back. It's just logical to me.
And probably more expensive in terms of insurance claims.
And that's a really cool thing, because like you could literally make it so your ship comes back really quickly because you want to lose it all the time, or do you want to make it so that it comes back and it's always at top peak condition, which is really interesting to me.
Well, this level really, again, the big thing for me is it gives hope for those larger ships, because I always like the concept that they had about they want you to love and care for your ship. The Millennium Falcon, they want it to be yours. And in small scale, yeah, that always kind of made sense. But if they're found a way to just make things easily changeable, easy customization, then there is plenty of room to have your own version of the Reclaimer and make it your own.
The other thing I've been thinking about very briefly earlier today was I try to think of another game that will have customization to this level. Like, and I start looking at racing car games where you can tune the engines and stuff like that. But even then, they have limited skin selections and stuff like that. You tend to not be able to pick the colors. It's like preset skins. So the ability to actually pick the color of the skin and pattern, combined with being able to change the seats, the trims, the colours of all those things, the handlebar, or not handlebars, but steering wheel, and the weapons, is we're starting to get into a territory that I don't think we've seen. Correct me if I'm wrong. Can you think of another game that's that customizable?
I kind of think of I know the exterior wide as the old Need for Speed games, because I remember being able to take like flag patterns and stuff. Where do you put the patterns? Where you put different things like that. But
even in recent memory, I haven't seen one that's even as complicated as that one. So, what about you, Sia? Can you think of any other game that surpasses this or even comes close?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, so I do find that interesting. And then you're going to take that across 200 ships. That's a very interesting feature.
It's going to be a long process.
Definitely.
The question is, are we going to get some retroactive love for those who already own it? Because you have these people that own it. Why it would make logical sense, at least to me, to say, here's what, you pay $10 and you'll be able to add on to your ship. Or you just a little bit extra.
I don't even think it should be that. I think retroactively.
No, it should not.
You don't think it should be retroactively? You don't think people that already purchased it should be able to customize it? Really?
I think they should, or else people are not going to be happy. Like, what if they have an LTI one and this thing gets implemented, and the only way they can get it is if they melt it down and then rebuy it back with 6-month insurance? Then they get what, retroactive customization for the fact they lose LTI? Hell no, I'm not going to do that.
What Dasein was suggesting was that you pay like an extra $10 and they allow you to customize it. You just reckon they should automatically
you should, because of the cost of the component.
Okay,
because if you're upgrading your product.
For the cost of components. Okay,
yeah, if you upgrade the ship above what it was originally worth, yes, you pay the difference. I agree with that, but I think you should be automatically given the option to customize it for free. But if you go beyond the standard version, and what I mean by the standard version is when you add components or weapons onto it, the color and the paint job, no difference. Maybe new seats, new steering wheel, a new trim. I can see that as well. But who are we to determine what the price is as well? We have heard John Crew say that one of the things that differentiates ships from other variants is the components. So how much is the ship going to go up in price? Could you technically get a $90 300i as an example compared to a $60 one?
I could see that.
Yeah,
if you put imagine all A-class components, your highest level of components, you're never going to have to upgrade that into the ship again. I could totally see that.
Yeah.
The only thing I could see conflicting is the fact that if you... that kind of makes it pay to win if you think about it. If you have more money in your pocket and me and you have the same ship, and I decide, oh, I'm going to trick it out with all these weapons and all these components that I know will give me an edge compared to somebody else who only buys the stock version. I don't think that's necessary. People are, of course, it's not necessarily fair, and people are going to be like, oh, pay to win. And there's this huge thing about pay to win, microtransactions. So
that is not pay to win.
I'll give you devil's advocate for a minute though. But
pay for it to get ahead.
Because it's going to make it really simple. But instead of buying a $90 upgraded 300i, I just buy a Gladius. You see what I mean? Like, it's, if you're going to do the pay to win argument, the entire way they're funding this game is pay to win. Then, if that's the case, so because at some point you just get to a bigger ship anyway.
Right, but you'll be able to earn every shipping game in the future. But your counter for the Gladius, what if someone again doesn't have that $90? They only have the amount that the 300i costs.
It's the same thing, man. There's people in the game
with
the
make all the ships equal to the Aurora?
No. No. What I'm saying is that I just think people are not going to be happy if you are able to take the same ship and you can trick it out to whatever you want, and then that you just bump it up in price, and then boom, my 325A is better than your 325A. I'm not necessarily saying that's not like,
but you'll be able to
be a
buy
customization
that game, and that's the thing.
Yeah,
it's
you
the
can
difference between having that extra bit to make sure you don't have to upgrade it, and that's really where I see the difference in line. Right now, it may feel like that, but once the game's out there and we're tricking out components and everything, there's not going to be a difference because you'll be able to upgrade all that. And plus, two, why would you upgrade this ship? No offense.
You know what I'd give you? I'll give you its pay to advance. That's probably what it is. But like, if you've got something like a javelin, you're right down the end of the tree, so to speak. So you can see it as pay to win. But the thing is, if I have a javelin and I'm a ship player, I'm still not going to be able to use as well as you will, as well. You know what I mean? So eventually, you'll catch up to me and be able to kill me anyway. So,
eventually. Well, yeah. I mean, it's just an argument for the sake of the argument. I like the idea, don't get me wrong, but I'm pretty sure other people are not going to like the idea for some reason. I already can feel it.
Well,
I think
mad about who knows?
This is
I know.
This argument's been around for a long time. Like, ever since they started doing the current funding model, it's been around.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I mean, nonetheless, Dasein, that's still a really interesting feature that I honestly like to see implemented. But hey, we'll see. It's right around the corner.
Yep. Well, that's the other part of it. They haven't really kind of stated when it's going to be. They've just kind of stated that it's soon.
I feel like
it's in Evocati right now.
Right.
So I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks.
Yep. But we've seen it come to Evocati and then get cancelled before, so I won't hold my breath. But yeah, I'd hope it'd be here in the next month.
Who knows?
Sorry,
well, there is that Q&A on Spectrum, and generally with Q&As, it tends to be about a week after they ask for questions. So I actually have a very strong feeling that it's going to be next week, quite possibly next Thursday or Friday with the live stream on Friday.
The top questions on that Q&A that have been voted up to are actually good questions too. Like, can we retroactively do this to our other ships? Can we retroactively, is this a feature that's going to go out to all ships? Blah blah blah. So they're actually questions that I generally really want to know. So I was quite happy with the ones that were up top. For a change, it's great. Yeah, is there anything else you guys want to add? I don't really have a lot to add, other than I hope this kind of rolls out to all the other ships in the line, and I can even see it start to roll out to things like, say get to something a little bit more technical, like a Terrapin, like when you're putting different scanners on, and you get into the Retaliator and stuff like that, and the Starfarer Gemini, are you going to go for the transport, Starfarer with the transporting, or are you going to keep the refinery and the fuel scoop and stuff like that?
Yep.
So you can start to see, you can really tailor your ship before even walking out the door, so to speak, to be exactly what you want it to be, which is that with the ability of the LTI is going to really, all of a sudden, LTI has actually become more valuable, which is really strange.
Exactly.
I didn't think that would be something that they would do, but obviously they see it as a money winner.
Think about it this way. It's a new reason to sell your fighters. You might actually want to start condensing down more and just have even fewer ships, even if you have large ships, just so you have one fully kitted out ship. because one fully kitted out ship versus one non-fully kitted out ship is going to be a big difference.
Yeah, so components are going to be a big part of this game. They really, really are. Like, ship is just the face of everything, but if you've got it, like that's one of the other things. Like, just to give an example, those javelins are literally like the frame. You've actually got to go out and buy all the components to put in them and stuff like that.
Yep.
So everyone's like, oh, you're buying a javelin, but they don't take into account that person's going to have to go out and find all the components. It's literally only half the work is done, type of thing.
It's going to be a logistics nightmare to operate it too.
If your javelin gets found and it doesn't have enough guns to defend itself, it's like literally.
Yeah.
So I don't know what else to say to that. Like, so there are counters to things in this game, and you know, they've also stated things like really big ships will be counted by the smaller ships, and the smaller ships will be counted by the medium, and etc., etc. And it just goes around rock paper scissors. So I'm not too stressed about like what you said with the pay to win stuff. I think in any game, if you come into a game late, for example. You start as a noob, and there are always things for noobs to do. And I think the best thing about this game, as opposed to other games, is there's no leveling. That's a winner right there. Like, if you look at Eve, there's people that are like, I've been playing this game for 4 years, so I've got 4 years worth of upgrades. Especially in that game, how things are upgraded over time. It is disgustingly ridiculous. You just sit there looking at going, there's one here that's going to take me 3 months to upgrade. Fuck that. Like, just no way. And
I've had like 4 months.
Yeah, so
it sucks.
Like, that's crazy. That's like, and you pay in a game where you pay by the month. That's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. You know, like, and the pay to win there would obviously be that if you could just buy those upgrades, like pay me $2.
You can now.
Yeah, so
you can.
There's people that will do that. So that's pay to win.
Oh yeah.
And there would have been people that go in here, have $500 and just boof, upgrade everything. So that will change the game. That'll make something pay to win. But just the ship itself, it still relies on your skill as a pilot to be able to fly it, and shoot and engineer it and all that shit. So there's plenty enough there to not make it pay to win in my book.
I mean, just again, I like the idea of that. I just don't think everyone else is going to like the idea because again, it's a matter of opinion. It's no right or wrong answer, and so to speak, there's no right or wrong answer. Somebody in the comments might think that's a good idea. Somebody else might not think it's a good idea. Who knows? Yeah. But one thing I did like about the whole customization thing was the subcomponents. That's like you have your components, but what makes up the components will be how you fine tune them. Like when we were talking about racing and tuning the engines, that's basically you're tuning the components to how you want it to really work. Do you want to have high performance, lower emissions? Do you want to be able to resist scanning, or just those kind of things, durability? So that's me being a maintainer by trait and actually having to go in and change stuff out like that. It makes me really excited because I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But
and I think it's going to add a certain level of depth because you can not use them, or you can decide to use them,
right?
Which is good. So when you're starting out the game, you can just use the components and not worry about subcomponents. And then as you get more advanced, you can slip into that area of going, well, I can just tweak this into that particular area so it does this. And I think there's going to be people that are really into that. Like, if there's a game called, I can't remember what it was called, but like whatever the year is, so 2018 Engine Simulator, and that thing exists on Steam, I shit you not. So if there's people that can actually tweak engines in a video game, there are people that are going to want to do it in a game like this, for sure.
Yep.
And it'll be a valuable skill because you'll have people who are really good at figuring out what works. And that's a commodity not only for an org, but
well, it's gonna separate a good engineer from a great engineer and stuff like that. I can see that coming down the line as well. So,
and you need that.
Well,
you really need that skill ceiling for other jobs because you'll have people that are more combat pilots, and that's where this game has its biggest appeal. You have your truck simulator, like so for your cargo people. You have your mechanical for your mechanics, and you have your, of course, shoot up for people who like to shoot, and of course, eventually, with all the planes and stuff, I'm starting to think farm simulators when I come into this game.
Yeah, my brother plays that. He's a weirdo. Don't worry. Yeah, but like not only that, like if you can actually customize your subcomponents in ships too, that could be really interesting too. And is that going to put up the cost even more? Like I was saying, like, you know, not just your class of components, but do you have really valuable subcomponents added in there as well? So I'm just interested to see how deep this customizer goes now, because it surpassed what I was expecting. I just want to know how far it's going to go. And I'm rather intrigued, because I'm hoping they're going to go back and do other ships. I'm hoping that this is not just a one-off where they're going to go, let's see if we can make a shit ton of money with this, and if it works, then we'll roll out to everything else. But you actually look at what's required as well for them to set this up. They've obviously had to build all the art assets and the textures and stuff like that, so they've had to, like, literally all the variants are kind of the same. So when you work that through, then you got to look at the website and stuff like that. But then when you start to roll that over to other variants, when a variant, like say, let me give you an example, Freelancer to Freelancer Max, when it physically changes in size like that, that becomes a lot harder, because if you do the same texture, you technically need two textures, one for the bigger one and one for the smaller one. So I can see that there's going to be ships that will be kind of left a little later because of little things like that. But everything else, like putting weapons on, like once they've done one weapon through the whole system, and what I mean is texturing, animation, queuing it up for the website to be able to customize every ship, like that's going to be an interesting part. This is going to be the first new thing we've seen on the website in ages, because you're going to have to, how are you going to do it? Is it going to be like the in-game where you pull it up and you can rotate it around and put all the weapons in? And so we're going to have a new screen that we've probably never seen before, like a ship management screen. Is it? I don't know how that's going to look. I'm intrigued to know how they do the layout.
Just
are we talking about for? Oh, go ahead, Dawson.
I don't feel like it's going to be applied necessarily retroactively for a while. I feel like this is more something that will be applied to new ships as they come out, because it just feels like something that they would take the time when they're working on it directly. Then
I think it'll only be I think it'll only be the 300i for a while, and they'll test the water and see how it goes, and then consider rolling it out to other stuff. Because obviously, as I said, they've had to build a whole new website, and it's gonna be a test. Because if they've got to do it for every single ship, that's a fair bit of work. Like, and it also
hopefully they update everything with the website that needs to get updated.
Yep. They're also going to have to go back and, you know, put extra textures in for every single ship in the game, just so they're there to be used and stuff. So, unless they've already done and they never told us, but I just don't see that. But we'll have to wait and see. Is there anything else you guys want to add?
I'm good.
Dyson?
I'm good.
Cool. Alright, well, if you dislike this video, you know what to do. If you like this video and consider subscribing. We're on Discord if you want to ask any more questions. We're definitely looking for more people for Fix My Fleet as well, if you're interested in having us go over your fleet with you and give it a tweak and make sure you've, you know, kind of spent money in the right areas and you don't have any stuff that's bad, even if you just want it checked out. We've had a few people check it out and they're totally fine. That's just peace of mind. So yeah, if you want to ask us, no problem there at all. If you've got any questions about the game at all, jump on our Discord and shoot a question at one of the Inforunners. We'll be more than happy to help you, or drop us a question in Ask a Question channel on the Discord. He's been Seer, he's been Dyson, I've been Execute. I'm going to catch you guys next time.
Yep.